Welcome to Heart with Prisca, where we have real conversations, practical wisdom, and purposeful living. Today's episode title is If You Can't Afford to Lose It, Don't Lend It. Have you ever noticed that some people only remember you when they need money? No phone calls, no, how have you been? No, how's the family? No conversation for months? Then suddenly your phone rings or a message pops up. Please, can you lend me some money? I wish I could say this happened only once. It didn't. It has happened to me more times than I can count. And the interesting part, after talking with friends, I realized I'm not alone. Many of them have shared similar experiences. So today's conversation is not about complaining. It's not about refusing to help people. And it's definitely not about any particular person. It's about learning from life, and more importantly, learning from God's word. Because one lesson I have learned is this: if I'm not willing to lose the money, I simply don't lend it. Whenever this topic comes up, people usually fall into two groups. One group believes that because we're Christians, we should never say no when someone asks for financial help. The other group has been hurt so many times that they've stopped helping people altogether. I don't believe either extreme reflects God's heart. God calls us to be generous, but He also calls us to be wise. Those two truths don't compete with each other. They complement each other. Sometimes generosity says yes, sometimes wisdom says no, sometimes love gives, sometimes love sets healthy boundaries. One thing that surprised me was discovering how much the book of Proverbs talks about money, especially becoming surety for someone else's debt. Today we call it co-signing, guaranteeing someone's loan, putting your name on someone else's financial obligation. Listen to what Proverbs says. My son, if you have put up security for your neighbor, free yourself. Think about that. God isn't saying, stay there and hope everything works out. He's saying, get out of that agreement if you can. That's how serious it is. Then Proverbs 11:15 says, whoever puts up security for a stranger will surely suffer, but whoever refuses to shake hands in pledge is safe. Proverbs 17:18 says, one who has no sense shakes hands in pledge and puts up security for a neighbor. And Proverbs 22:26-27 says, do not be one who shakes hands in pledge or puts up security for debts. If you lack the means to pay, your very bed will be snatched from under you. Notice the pattern. God isn't discouraging generosity. He's warning us against putting ourselves in financial danger because of someone else's responsibility. That's wisdom. Someone might ask, but didn't Jesus tell us to lend? Yes, He did. Luke 6:34-35 tells us to lend without expecting repayment. Notice what Jesus is addressing. He's addressing our hearts. He's teaching us not to let our generosity depend on whether someone pays us back. But Jesus never tells us to ignore wisdom. He never tells us to become financially irresponsible. He never tells us to guarantee debts we cannot afford. When I put Proverbs and Luke together, this is the lesson I personally take away. If I decide to lend money, it should be money I can release without bitterness if it never comes back. Because if losing that money will destroy my peace or damage the relationship, maybe I shouldn't call it a loan. Maybe I should either give what I can genuinely afford to give or lovingly say no. One thing I've noticed over the years is this. Sometimes the people asking aren't people you speak with regularly. Sometimes months have gone by. No conversations, no relationship, no check-ins. Then suddenly they need money. Can anyone relate? Again, this isn't about judging anyone. Life happens. People go through difficult seasons. I've also needed help at different times in my life, but I've learned that relationships should never be built only around financial need. If the only time we communicate is when money is involved, that's not healthy for either person. Money should never become the foundation of a relationship. So these days, I've adopted one simple principle. If I'm not willing to lose it, I simply don't lend it. Simple. That principle has protected my peace. It has protected relationships. It has protected me from resentment. Sometimes I still help. Sometimes I give instead of lending. Sometimes I simply say, I'm sorry, I'm not in a position to do that. And I've learned something important. No is not always rejection. Sometimes no is wisdom. Many of us feel guilty when we say no, especially as Christians. But stewardship is also part of obedience. God has entrusted us with our families, our responsibilities, our finances, our future. Protecting those things isn't selfish, it's being a faithful steward. Healthy boundaries don't mean you love people less. Sometimes they mean you love wisely. As I wrap up today's conversation, let me leave you with a lesson that life and God's Word has taught me. One thing I've learned over the years is this: if I'm not willing to lose the money, I simply don't lend it. And here's another one: if we're not in each other's circle, we don't talk, we don't check on each other. We haven't even said hello in months. Please don't let the next message be a loan request. Now, before anyone misunderstand me, this isn't about being unkind. It's not about refusing to help people. It's about applying biblical wisdom. The Bible has a lot to say about money, lending, and becoming financially responsible for other people's decisions. When I put all of those scriptures together, this is the conclusion I've come to. If I cannot happily give it away, I won't call it a loan. That simple principle has protected my peace. Money has a way of testing relationships. I've learned that protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's wisdom. Sometimes love says yes. Sometimes wisdom says, not this time. And both can honor God. So before you lend money, ask yourself one question. If this money never comes back, will I still have peace? If your answer is yes, then you're giving from a place of freedom. If your answer is no, don't ignore that feeling. Pray. Seek God's wisdom. It's okay to say no with love. Remember, God doesn't just call us to be generous. He also calls us to be wise. And those two truths were never meant to compete. They were designed to work together. Protect your peace. Protect your relationships. Give wisely. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever learned a difficult lesson about lending money or becoming financially responsible for someone else's decisions? What did that experience teach you? Let's learn from one another in the comments. If this episode encouraged you, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this episode, and send it to someone who needs this conversation. I'm Prisca Nwachukwu. This is Heart to Heart with Prisca. Until next time, remember, faith and wisdom were never meant to compete. They were designed to work together. God bless you.